So season 7, we know the fan base for this show is amazing. What were your thoughts and how did you go about the introduction of new characters into this series?
First of all, I was like, I know she doesn't expect me to pay attention with all that dope artwork behind her.
Man, it's
Oh, thank
so
you
great.
so
I
much.
was
Thank
literally like,
you.
oh, I was like, we're gonna have to talk about that offline. It's
Hmm.
gorgeous. Um,
Hmm.
but no, thank you. We it really came from we were inspired by sort of a conversation I'd had with a barista at Starbucks, my other favorite place to be, and just sort of the impact the show had had on her. And she'd sort of dropped out of college, and then because of the show, gotten back to college to pursue her dreams, has sort of refound her confidence. And then as I was leaving, she'd said that she hoped a show like that would be around for her younger brother when he was of age. And that sort of really stuck with me and was one of the reasons why I was like, okay, how do we keep this going beyond, Spencer's achieved his dream, right? He's made it to the NFL. Him and Olivia got married. She's a famous book author. She's keeping Billy's legacy alive. It felt like our OG characters had sort of graduated from that chapter of their life. And so the question was, can we really achieve this again and how? And to be honest, I didn't know if we could. I knew it was worth trying so that, my youngest son would have a show like this to watch and look up to as he was growing up, the barista's brother. And so, as we started to look at these characters, the dynamics we wanted to have, the storylines we wanted to do on fatherhood sort of was dictated the creation of Cassius, Jeremy, our new Beverly coach, and his son KJ. And also that very different from Spencer, has this really gorgeous, beautiful relationship with his father. And for the first, he's grown up in such security, and his dad really is his best friend. And they have this great sort of connection. And for the first time, his world is sort of getting ripped out from under him a little bit with his parents separating. But so, what does that look like in their relationship as father and son, coach and QB? And that sort of became the genesis for that Beverly anchor. And suddenly got very excited about the storylines we could tell there that we didn't get to do with Spencer because his father wasn't in the picture. And then when he came back, it was wrought with so much of the abandonment and healing from that. And so this allowed us to take a different angle and tell a different journey of these dope Black fathers in our community. And they're not perfect. Cassius is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and we're going to see more of that as the season goes along. But one thing he is committed to is loving his son and helping him pursue his dreams and fostering the kind of relationship that he never had with his father. And that was exciting for us to tell. Um, Same with Preacher's daughter. We'd always loved that character since she came on the scene, as a young 11-year-old with a 34-year-old woman's spirit, the way she came at Preach. And so the excitement of what is she like at 16? She had such a life shift with the loss of her mother. And now the people who were involved in that are the ones raising her. And as she gets older and starts to understand things aren't black and white and life is complicated, how does that affect her? And we got excited about telling that storyline. And then my favorite one, because this was so me growing up, is the storyline of our OG cast who are now entering this new chapter of their lives as adults, reluctantly as adults. Still want to work at the club, but we got responsibilities in the office and like, youth we have to take care of or a lounge we have to open. It's that balance of adulthood, but your youth is still right there in your grips. And I got married at 25, not dissimilar from Jordan and Layla, and just sort of finding that balance of you're now a spouse and you're also a businesswoman and you're also, still young and you're also trying not to lose your identity. Getting to tell those stories with characters we've grown up with, it all sort of really came together. And then you welcome in our new actors who just took those characters and like, oh, I'm such a huge fan. I go and sit on set as a fan to watch our new actors just bring these characters to life. It's been so much fun.
I love that. Jamie, what were you excited about bringing forward in this new season and how things come to shape?
Everything that NK just said. Plus, the other thing that's really cool is the Khalil character, Antonio Bell, and what he's kind of brought to him. You know, I often talk about it in a room, and it's a very powerful thing that you know you get from a lot of actors, whether or not it was like James Gandolfini and the other ones. So much of this kid's story is told through his eyes, and just that in itself. And in his eyes, you see the heartache, you see the pain, you see the trouble, but you also on the other side of it see there is hopefulness, that there is a gift there. And so allowing and seeing Jordan kind of evolve into, you know, not only, I mean, he's evolving into his own man, but the legacy of Billy Baker is coursing through his blood. And so the cool thing about the Khalil character is we talk about it, he's a hybrid of, there's a little bit of Sean in him from past OG characters. There's a little bit of Coop. There's a little bit of Spencer, you know, so he's like this amalgam of all of these characters from the past. And so getting an opportunity to tell that story of like, what's the best way to kind of help this kid like navigate his journey? What's the best way to kind of get this kid to buy into the fact that, you know, there are people out there who are available, who are there to help you, but getting him to kind of trust the village and kind of taking him on this really cool journey of more of an evolution as I'm thinking about it, because it's more about him kind of how do we help him evolve, but at his own pace, but stay consistent. And so, you know, and then beyond that, like there are new characters that you'll see at South Crenshaw who are really interesting and fascinating. And on the other side, the Beverly side, and we got a couple other characters that's kind of connected. You'll see that I won't spoil, no surprises, but you have another character that we'll introduce in episode 2. She's very fascinating in another way. You know what I mean? And we're going to touch on a component this year that we've never touched on, surprisingly, that's kind of connected to football. And I think I can say just a little bit in terms of cheer. You know, we're touching on cheer. We've never touched on cheer. So that's like the excitement lies in these opportunities to kind of tell these different stories. Although the kids are kind of going through similar situations, their circumstances, their backgrounds are different.
Amazing. Well, thank you both so much for your time. I'm excited to see where we go in this new iteration, so to speak.
Sure.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Jill.
You too.